It's the weekend and you have financial questions that need answering. That can only mean one thing. It's time for Jill on Money, the show that takes the mystery out of your finances. Here's your host, Jill Schlesinger.
Welcome, welcome. It's the Jill on Money Show. This is the program that takes the mystery out of your financial life. I am your host, Jill Schlesinger, CBS News business analyst, and I'm also a certified financial planner. We are here to help you navigate your financial journey wherever it takes you. So whatever is going on for you, whether you're just starting out or you've been at it for a long time, doesn't matter. Young, old, middle career, late career, just beginning, does not matter. Get in touch with us. Go to jillonmoney.com, click the Contact Us button, write us a note, and if you'd like to join us on the program live, all you need to do is check the box. Mark will do everything else. While you're on the website, don't forget to subscribe to our weekly newsletter. It comes out on Fridays, and that newsletter will also entitle you to our blog, which, I write when the spirit moves me. While you're on the website, check out our two other programs. We've got two podcasts. One is called Jill on Money, Monday through Friday, and we also have a weekend program called Money Watch. They're both there right on the website, as is a link to videos and resources, everything you can need to help you get where you want to go. Let's start the program. Here's an email from Margaret, who is 71 years old, has no mortgage, also does not have any credit card or car loans, semi-retired. She makes about 10 grand a year. She says, I have a small pension, about $7,000 a year, a pension from a former spouse, $19,000, and then Social Security of $17,500. Some CDs that fund occasional money for my grown children, and to provide $10,000 for each of her grandchildren when they graduate high school. Okay, I have a traditional IRA, 450 grand. It's at Vanguard, and I think it sounds like they manage it as well. So she says, I reached out to my advisor and let them know I no longer want to grow my IRA, but would rather work to protect the money that I have saved by putting it into fixed income, knowing full well it will not grow much. Okay. But by doing so, my thought is I will not lose what I have built up. The advisor told me that I would no longer have them to advise me. Holy smokes. And that I'd have to do it on my own. How interesting, Mark. Currently, the money is in the Vanguard Total Bond Market Index and the International Bond Index, the International Stock Index, and the Total Stock Market Index. Okay, I understand that I'm going to have to start taking RMDs by April 1st. I don't know how to or when to transfer the money from my current selections to a fixed income account because I just don't have a lot of confidence in my knowledge of investing. Is this market timing? Can you give me some advice, Margaret? Well, Margaret, I really feel like maybe you actually do want a financial advisor, and I'm surprised that Vanguard gave you that answer. I mean, I guess if you're going to just go to cash, you can go to cash, but why would you do that? Maybe what you should do is instead of just taking all of the money and taking it out of risky stuff, maybe what you could do is kind of in chunks, maybe quarterly, move some money into the total bond market index, a little bit in the international bond index, and start slowly moving the stock portion into that. But if you're saying you want to put it all in money market, you could do that anytime. But I'm guessing also that maybe the part-time income, the pension, and the Social Security sounds like that covers everything. If that's the case, I still would want some money in stocks, at least 20% in the total stock market index. So I don't know if I would bail. Why don't you go back to the advisor and say, hey, can you create a portfolio where you would still manage it, but I really only want 20% in stocks. So let's say 15% in U.S. stocks and 5% in international, and the rest in short to intermediate term bonds. Could they do that? What about that as an idea? And then the only other thing you would say to the advisor would be, hey, every year I want to take my required minimum distribution, at some point. Yes, you have to take RMDs, but they have to leave the money that you need for RMDs in cash. So that's not exactly market timing, but it's a strange situation, Mark. I don't think I've heard anything like that.
That's news to me. I didn't know the types of assets matters in terms of getting access to an advisor or not. I thought it was just the asset level.
Yeah. I mean, it's bizarre. It's totally bizarre. Anyway, it's not like a huge issue. I think it sounds like you would like some You would like some advice, so I'd like to try to keep that advice available to you. So let's get a little more information. Steve writes that he and must be and his spouse, 77 and 76 years old. They've got take home of $7,300 per month. That is due to state pensions and Social Security. Now, how great is this? They're taking home $7,300 a month, living expenses $6,000 a month. So they're putting $1,000 a month into savings in their 70s. Oh my gosh. Okay, assets are $300,000 in laddered CDs, $100,000 in an accessible high interest savings account. They have no other financial assets or investments. They've got $15,000 of cash on hand, no debt. A couple kids who are grown. They don't need the help. They live independently in a continuing care retirement community, which is essentially a lifetime rental agreement with options to reduce costs if necessary. Okay. Health insurance is good. Everything in place. Okay. 3 questions. Investments. We choose to avoid risk given our age. We're just too old to recover losses. Plus the sufficiency and reliability of our pensions and Social Security. Are there no risk, low risk investment options beyond CDs and high interest savings that we should consider? That's an easy one. No. If you don't want risk, take no risk. Tax minimization. We haven't done anything to manage taxes. Anything we should be doing to minimize federal income tax? I don't know. You can't make your pension go away. You can't make your Social Security go away. You're investing in interest generating products. There's not much for you to do. And then the third, long-term care Medicaid positioning. How can we protect our assets if nursing home care becomes necessary? We removed a safe harbor trust from our will for a variety of reasons: complexity, barely assets to proceed, suggestions. I don't think you got a lot to worry about. There's really nothing to do. You'll spend your assets down. You actually have income. There's not much more for you to do around this. I think that you kind of are where you are. So I wouldn't sweat that. All right. Okay. John wants to know, do I need a financial advisor? I heard a bit of your show on WCCO radio. That is in Minneapolis, my friends, and we love CCO. You suggested that if your retirement account was under $400,000 with this caller you were speaking to, that person didn't need an advisor. Is that your recommendation? It's pretty much my situation. I don't know. Like, listen, if you have just one account and it's a retirement account and you have $400,000, I'm not sure you do need an advisor, but maybe you have a complex situation. If that's you, then perhaps, but I'd love to hear more. That's the question. This is from Jasmine, who said, last year I began working a remote job, which pays through PayPal. Someone mentioned that I need to pay quarterly taxes to the IRS, even though I always get money back. I can't find clear information online. It's confusing. Help me understand if this is something I need to do. I made about $2,000 a month with this job. Okay, well, listen. You'll find out right now. You're about to file your taxes, whether or not you're going to have to make quarterly payments or not. You probably don't have to if you're withholding somewhere else. I don't know. You'll make a decision based on this tax filing year. There's no reason to necessarily do anything this second. She'll find that out. Isn't that right?
She's going to know real soon. But if nothing's being withheld, then yeah, you're probably going to want to, kind of go by what tax bracket you're in and put aside that percentage each month just to make those quarterly payments going forward.
Exactly. And don't sweat it. This is not like some horrible thing. Like, making a quarterly payment is pretty easy to do. If you have a financial question, it's so easy to get in touch with us. Just go to Jill on Money and click the Contact Us button. We'll be right back.
Back to Jill on Money, where Jill Schlesinger helps you take the mystery out of your finances.
Welcome back. It's the Jill on Money Show, where we are answering your financial questions. If you've got one, just go to our website. It's jillonmoney.com. And in the upper right-hand corner, wherever you navigate on the site, there is a Contact Us button. When you click that button, a form will pop up. So just write us a note. Give us a lot of detail if you don't plan on coming on the program live. But if you would like to join us, which I really highly recommend because it's a great experience and we can protect you. Don't worry. We'll change your name if you need it. Just check that box and Mark will arrange to have you you join us on the air live. Okay, right now, let's talk to Chris, who joins us from Seattle. Hi, Chris. What's going on?
Good morning, Jill and Mark. It's exciting to talk to you guys. Thank you so much. I love listening to your show.
Fabulous. What's up? Well, how can we help you out?
Okay, so I retired about 1.5 years ago, and I am just a huge time saver and kind of having a struggle moving from the saving mode to spending. And have a couple questions. Number one is, should I be doing any Roth conversions at this point? And then how do I develop a strategy as far as like when I'm withdrawing money from like my 401 or my brokerage, and like everybody, just trying to minimize taxes as much as possible?
Okay, so let's do some of the details first. Chris, how old are you?
I am 61.
Are you married, single, partnered?
Single.
Are you entitled to any pension benefit?
Yes, I am. And I can either start collecting it now, and it would be about $3,500 a month, or if I wait till next year, February, it'd go up to $3,800.
Let's wait.
Okay. Here, Mark, let's wait. Does it keep going up, or is next year the last year?
Next year is the last year, 60.
Okay, so one more year. Okay. Now, Chris, tell us about all this money you've saved. Big saver, not such a big spender. Don't worry, Mark and I'll spend your money. This will be very easy. So let's start with the easy stuff, which is let's start with your retirement accounts.
Okay, so I have a 401 that I had through work, and in the Roth, there's about 600,000, and in the taxable is about 1.1.
And is it still inside of that retirement account through work, or did you roll it over?
No, it's still at work. It's with Fidelity.
Okay. Okay, very good. So 600 in the Roth, great. 1.1 in taxable. What about other retirement assets, not the 401k?
Okay, then I have a brokerage with Edward Jones, and in the Roth, I have about 250 there.
Mm-hmm.
And in the taxable is about 900,000.
Mark, you're so funny. So that's brokerage. Okay. And you're paying someone at Edward Jones to manage that for you?
Yes.
Okay. And I note that you haven't rolled the other, the Fidelity accounts over. Is that because you're kind of doing a death match, Fidelity versus Edward Jones?
I don't know. And that's a great question, because that was one of mine, is when do I think about, or do I combine, and how do I determine which one? I like them both. I like Fidelity for what they offer from work. I get better advice, I think.
So in other words, in the Fidelity, have you gotten financial advice from them? Do you use that product from Fidelity?
Yes.
Okay.
I can talk to somebody.
Yep. I gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What else is going on? So we have a Roth, a taxable in the 401k. You've got a brokerage and then a Roth at Edward Jones. What else is going on?
So I have in high yield savings about 125,000.
Okay, great.
And in CDs, laddered CDs, I have about 250,000.
Oh my God, you're incredible.
I know.
I've been single.
I know.
People,
watch his pension's going to cover everything. Watch.
I know. But wait a second. How about a house? You have a house?
I do. Yes.
How much is it worth?
About 1.1.
And let me guess, it's paid off?
Yes.
Shocking. Okay. I'm not going to say everything, but what is your general expense that you encounter on a monthly basis? Make it fat, round it up a little bit.
Okay, let's go with, let's say 9 or 10,000.
All right. Okay. And so what is the source of covering that right now? Are you pulling money out of the CDs and the high yield savings account? What are you doing?
I've been pulling some out of the Fidelity, the 401, and a little out of the other brokerage, and then using a little savings.
Okay. And right now, the only source of your income that is taxable is the interest from the high yield savings, the CDs, and the brokerage, right?
Yes.
Okay. So just for last year, not this year, for 2025, when you paid taxes, was that a year when you probably worked half the year, or did you not work last year at all?
Yeah, I didn't work in 2025. I worked in 2024,
Mm-hmm.
but I got some payments in 2025. And I did, honestly, Jill, I messed myself up
Mm-hmm.
with taxes this last year because I got a bonus from when I worked through 2024, which was paid in 2025.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And then I had some RSUs that were vested.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how it all works, but that amount got captured as income.
So 2025, have you filed yet or not?
Yes. And then I also did a Roth rollover last year.
A Roth rollover or conversion?
Or conversion, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what was your taxable income last year for 2025? When you just filed your taxes, what was it?
I think over 300.
Okay. So that's not happening in 2026. Here we are in 26.
No.
Chances are, if you really are, I mean, you haven't received the pension yet, right?
No.
So this could be an opportunity to do a nice conversion for this year, right? We have $1.1 million. You really don't have a ton of write-offs. I imagine that you're probably, I don't know what your interest and dividend income looked like last year, but I presume that if we did nothing this year, you'd be in the 22% bracket. And I think you probably should do some conversions. Mark, how do you feel about Chris converting 150 grand this year? And so he would take, of the 1.1, he'd take 150 and convert this year in 26. He'd be in the 24% bracket. He would use money from his high yield savings, and then the laddered CDs, as they come due, you could roll that into your high yield savings just to have it, right? You would be, helping yourself in that you would simply be able to get that money out of the growth factor for the non-taxed part of your retirement. Alternatively, what you could do is you could just say, well, Jill, I like my soft, cushiony, high yield savings and CDs. I'm sure that I would be a little bit worried because you're a super duper saver. Maybe what you would do is just take 150 out of your 401k, use that to live on for the year, pay your tax that's due, and be done with it. Those are kind of the two different options that you have. And then you could keep doing that. You could either convert or pull out. Once you claim your pension next year, you could just reduce the amount you pull out or convert to keep you in that 24% bracket. And you could do that until you claim Social Security. How's your health, Chris?
It's pretty good.
Pretty good?
Yep.
Are you thinking of claiming at 70 or 67?
I was going to ask you that as well.
I mean, pretty good sounds like 67. Really good sounds like 70. I mean, if you're in good health, the longer you wait, the better off you are. But if you're like, I'm in okay health, not such great health, then 67 is fine. Do you know what your amounts would be at 67 and 70?
At 67, it would be 3,700.
Mm-hmm.
And 70 is 4,600.
We'll get back to Chris in just a minute, but if you have something going on in your life, get in touch with us. Go to JillOnMoney.com and click the Contact Us button. We'll be right back.
Do I invest here? Should I put my money there? Jill Schlesinger can help you. Back to Jill on Money.
Welcome back. It's Jill on Money, the program that attempts to take the mystery out of your financial life. Before we went to the break, we were talking to Chris from Seattle. How do you feel about the difference between converting versus just pulling out? Do you like having the access to the money? Because you have plenty of money. You have plenty of money to last you. As you said, you're a big saver. You're not spending anything. So what feels right to you?
I don't know. I would probably, conversion, I guess, because down the road, then I'm not paying taxes on it, right?
Yeah.
And I do
But
start pulling.
when the money you pull out right now, if you've pulled, all right, so you're 61, let's like pretend that 70 is the Social Security. It'll give you 9 years to get the money out,
Right.
to whittle it down. I'm good either way. Mark, do you have an opinion on a conversion versus just pulling the money out? Considering that, like, oh, Chris, I forgot to ask you, you have kids?
No, no
No
kids.
kids. So, I mean, considering that you're never going to spend all this money, then the question is, Mark, do you think conversion or just yank the money out as needed?
Eileen yank it out, and there's so much pre-tax money. He's never going to get all of this converted.
I know.
I'm fine just taking it out. The health is good. Wait for Social Security. You have your pension. That's a huge chunk of what he needs to cover his expenses. He can just use all that cash right now to live on.
And then you don't really have to worry about it. The other thing that you could start considering, let's kind of look at this brokerage account for a second. What's in that brokerage account? Is there still company stock in there, or RSUs or anything like that? Or is it just investments that you purchased?
It's just investments.
Index funds, exchange traded funds, individual securities. What's in there?
Gosh, it's just a mix. I don't know exactly what, but it's 60. I mean, it's 60% stock, 30% or 40% bonds.
Okay. Is that the same in your Fidelity accounts, or do you have a higher percentage in Fidelity?
It's about the same.
Okay. Are you charitably inclined at all?
Yes. And that's when I do go, I will be giving it to charity.
When I do go, I was like, where are you going? And now I understood what you were about to say.
Yes.
When I do. Okay. One thing that you could consider as well is to look at that brokerage account and start to think about, well, wait, maybe I'll give some money away during my life and I'll open a donor advised fund. This to me could be a very nice way for you to really be a little more proactive about giving money away during your life. It is removing some of the low cost basis holdings inside the brokerage account, using those to fund a donor advised fund. So I don't know if we've been talking about donor advised funds because it's tax season, but the way it works is, I'm going to make it up. You have an exchange traded fund or an index fund that tracks the S&P 500. You've had it in there for a long time. Let's pretend that you bought it for $25,000 and that position is now worth $100,000. You could essentially open a donor advised fund. You could contribute the $100,000 worth of that position into the donor advised fund. It would give you an immediate $100,000 deduction on your taxes. Okay. That's pretty sweet, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Now, the critical part of this is that you don't have to pay the capital gains tax. The money that goes into this fund, it goes in as your position, your S&P 500 fund. You contribute it in. The donor advised fund, whether it's at Fidelity or at Edward Jones or wherever it is, they immediately sell the position. You can invest that $100,000 that went in however you would like, and then you can start to give the money away over time. You don't have to give it away all at once. You can give it away over a number of years. So let's just say your good old friend Jill, the gal who's always shaking down the listening audience for her big cycle for the cause every year. You say, oh, I'm going to throw Jill $100. You go and you check out and it says donor advised fund, and you shove $100 from your donor advised fund into my ride. Or you say, my friend is looking to raise money for whatever, the Seattle Foundation. And you say, okay, I'll donate that from my donor advised fund. Now, you don't get a deduction from what you've given from your donor advised fund, just the money that went into the fund, and you give it out over time. So it's kind of cool. And especially if we think you're going to be in a higher tax bracket I think I would have done it last year for you if your advisor were using his or her head. That would have been a good year to do it because you had a big tax year that you didn't expect. You could have taken a big chunk of money from the taxable account, push it in a donor advised fund, get a deduction, lower your tax liability. Would have been great. You can still do it going forward, though. And I think that is something worth talking about with the Edward Jones broker. Or if you decide to move everything to Fidelity, Fidelity also has a donor advised fund.
Okay. And going back to that, then what should I be considering about combining? I mean, what are the pros?
Okay. Here's what I think. I like combining. Why? Because it's easier to manage. So it would be nice if your two Roth accounts were one Roth account for $850, right? It would be nice if your brokerage account lived in the same place as your Roth. traditional retirement account and just the brokerage account. I just like that for ease of management. Now, that said, if you like your Edward Jones broker and that person, how much are they charging you? Do you know?
I don't.
Okay, I want you to find that out. I'm going to give you a scolding for that, even though you're such a good saver, you could basically throw your money away on anybody. If this person is just managing money for you and it's costing you money, then it's not a great deal. If that person is doing financial planning and telling you to open a donor advised fund, watching your taxable liability, trying to talk you through the conversion factor, and really helping you manage your financial planning, not just your assets, then sure. But otherwise, if they're not doing that and you actually think the advice is better at Fidelity, then I would move everything to Fidelity. Mark, do you agree with that?
Yeah, it all depends on what he's getting from Edward Jones. Like you said, if they're doing full-blown financial planning, taxes, estate, all that other stuff, then maybe.
Yeah, maybe. But if they're not, then you rethink it.
And how does that work if I were to? I mean, that doesn't create any tax implications or anything by taking
No. The best way to do this is to call Fidelity, talk to Fidelity and say, I have these other accounts and I'd like to move them to Fidelity. What is the best way to do that? They'll handle it with you. And you'll move from Edward Jones, you'll move the Roth into your Roth, and then you'll move the brokerage account as is. You're not going to sell anything. You're going to move it as is into a Fidelity brokerage account. No, nothing has to be sold to do that. So you don't need, unless there's some weird asset that's like an Edward Jones specific asset that can't be held at Fidelity, although I think that would be highly unlikely, then you should not have any tax liability doing this. If you would like us to help weigh in on something going on in your financial life, just go to JillOnMoney.com. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to Jill on Money, where Jill Schlesinger takes the mystery out of your finances.
Welcome back to the Jill on Money Show, where we are trying to help you along wherever you find yourself on your financial journey. If you've got a question, just go to the website. Here's an email from Bob. Can I retire in 3 months? Married, adult children, no mortgage. House is worth around $425,000. No car payment. Pay my credit card in full each month. My wife is 63 and I'll be 63 in June. We have an IRA that we rolled over to Vanguard when our company was purchased. We've got $1.7 million in that rollover. They contribute to a 401k to 5%. And they've got 401k money of around 120, and she's got 105, so 225. They've got a cash reserve account of $65,000. Social Security looks to be about $2,800 or so at 67 for me. Not sure of my wife's number, but at least 2. So they'll have about $4,800 a month at 67-ish. Healthcare is an issue because obviously if he retires in 3 months, they'll need a bunch of money to go out to healthcare. Cobra for 18 months is about $1,700. We do each have an HSA. He's got $15,000. She's got $12,000. But listen to this is it. Okay, guys, this is the, as we like to say in the biz, this is the nut graph. This is the most important thing. Bob says, my job is just so stressful. And with parents who died early, my mom at 50, my dad 5 years later at 57, I just don't think I'm going to live long enough. So why should I keep doing this job that I just don't like anymore? Wanted to get someone else's view and insight. What do you think about Bob retiring in 3 months, Mark, based on all of the money that they have? I mean, they're going to get Social Security. I wonder if...
Did he say what they spend?
I don't think he said what they spend. I'm trying to go backwards here. No house, 1.7. I'm going to guess they spend $8,000 a month. What do you think of that? Just interpreting how much money they have. What do you think? More or less?
I don't think it's more.
So if it's $8,000, let's pretend it's $8,000 a month. Could they do $8,000 a month? Half of the need is met with Social Security, and then they've got a bunch of assets. I think they probably can do it. I really need to know that spending number.
Yeah, if it's eight or less, then this is probably good. Like he said, they got to cover healthcare for 2 years here.
That's going to be rough. It would be nice if one of them were not him. Maybe she could work a little bit more.
This is twice now you've made the wife keep working.
I'm sorry. So Donna writes, after I appeared on TV talking about what to keep and what to shred, she's like, I have investment accounts and I'm not contributing towards them, but how long do I keep them? 6 months? How long? Just trying to clean things up. Investment statements, I think you can basically shred anything that is over 1 year old. Now, once you get into the 1 to 12 months, you can go through those statements and see, is there anything on those statements that I would need for any tax purposes? Doesn't sound like it, but just in case. And then I would shred them. Mark, how long do you keep your investment statements? You can get 12 months online. So I would basically shred it after 45 days if I didn't need anything.
I don't get any paper statements in the mail. Everything's whatever.
Online. So
Yeah.
I think that you're fair. It's good to shred. If you want a couple months worth, fine. But after that, no. Michelle says, my husband and I have about $500,000 in no interest checking accounts or low interest savings accounts. Oh my gosh. He's 78. Oh, he's permanently disabled veteran. He brings in $5,200 a month in disability, and they get $2,300 from Social Security. House is paid off. Free health care because of his disability, 100% tax relief for property tax. So that's also because of the disability. Mark, they spend $2,100 a month. And so that means they should probably do something with this money. But Michelle's like, am I too old to invest? You're not too old to invest.
They also don't have to do something with his money.
Yeah, you don't have to do anything. But if you'd like to just maybe put some of the money in, instead of low interest accounts, maybe just buy some CDs. If you feel like maybe, you want to just take a little bit of the money and say, well, I'll put, 50 grand in a stock index fund and 50 grand in a bond index fund and buy some CDs with the rest. That's fine. You don't have to go too crazy with this. Like, the problem is when it's sitting in cash, that the interest plus inflation means you're losing money every year. But, listen, for all I know that she could live for 20 more years. So I wouldn't mind getting some of the money invested. Emma says, I had a FICO score of 825. We paid off our mortgage and immediately dropped 33 points. My husband's score went up 2 points to 826. Now, he was the one with a terribly low score when we married. We got our mortgage and car loans based on my credit. After all the hard work, I'm the one being punished for owning our home free and clear. It doesn't make sense. I also have a credit card. I've had it for 18 years. I never missed a payment. I use it frequently. I pay it off each month. It hurts my heart. I feel that I'm being punished for doing the right thing. Mark, how would you like to respond to this?
Some people get so bent out of shape over these credit scores if they move a little bit in the wrong direction. I mean, it's easy for me to say, don't worry about it. It's not a big deal.
It really isn't a big deal, and you're probably not getting credit. You don't need to get credit, and it won't matter. Okay.
Even with the drop, you still have a very, very good credit score. It's just
great,
this weird thing when accounts close.
It causes a real problem. That's the issue. Got a question? Just go to JillOnMoney.com. Jill on Money will be right back. Welcome back. It's the Jill on Money Show, where we're trying to help you navigate your financial journey wherever you are on that journey. If you've got a question, all you need to do is go to our website. That's jillonmoney.com. In the upper right-hand corner, there is a Contact Us button. When you click that button, a form will pop up. That's the email we receive. If you're going to send us an email and you're really shy, you don't want to join us live, that's fine. But give us a lot of detail. That way, we can make sure we cover your question. If, however, you would like to avoid that process, all you need to do is check the box, and Mark will bring you on the air live. It's very easy, and he does all the work. Let's conclude this hour with an email. This is from Richard, who writes, in 2022, I had to pay some back taxes on income that I missed. I wasn't notified until 2025, and interest accrued. Is it worth trying to challenge the IRS on the interest based on the subject? And he sent me a link to a USA Today article written by Medora Lee. The headline is, Millions of Americans may be owed a tax refund from COVID. Okay, so the gist of this article is that when there's a federally declared disaster, there are postponements of tax deadlines for the disaster period. And a federal court ruled last fall that COVID was actually under this provision. And so that means that if you had to pay penalties, maybe the IRS didn't have a right to levy those penalties, in which case you may be owed a refund. If someone prepared your taxes, you should flag this. If you did it yourself, you may have to request a tax transcript and then file a Form 843 from the IRS. It's only if you were charged any fees during this period of time. So thanks for flagging that to us, Richard. Let us know how you do, and it's always worth the effort. What's the worst that happens? They say no. If you've got some questions or tips for the community, send it along. Go to jillonmoney.com and click the Contact Us button. Write us a note. And if you'd like to join us on the program live, all you need to do is check the box. Mark will do everything else. You're listening to the Jill on Money Show, and we'll be right back.
It's the weekend, and that can only mean one thing. You're listening to Jill on Money, the show that takes the mystery out of your finances. Here's your host, Jill Schlesinger.
Welcome back. It's the Jill on Money Show, where we are answering your financial questions. Let's get the hour started. It's Katrina from Long Island, New York. Hello, Katrina. How are you? What can we do for you?
Hi, Jill. I'm great. Me and my husband, were a couple in our early 50s, 2 kids, and basically reached out because I wanted to get a financial gut check based on where we are right now. Specifically also asking about if I should switch to a Roth IRA. I've kind of got a lot of different questions going on.
All right, that's good. So you're in your early 50s, so you're married. How old are the kids?
I have a almost 20-year-old who's a sophomore in college and a 15-year-old who's a freshman in high school.
Okay, so you spaced it out. You gave yourself a little break. Well done.
We did.
How are you paying for college?
So we've been contributing to a 529 basically since they were born.
Mm-hmm.
For my older one who's in college currently, I have about 137 left in his 529.
Okay.
And for the freshman, it's about 113 in his 529. And we contribute annually $6,000 a year into each of them.
Okay. Is the sophomore in college in a reasonably priced school, or a very, like, when is this fund going to get drained, do you think?
He may try to graduate in 3.5 years, but
Oh, yay.
assuming he doesn't, the
Uh-huh.
fund would probably get drained by, I'd have 6 months that I'd have to pay for
Out
beyond
of
the
pocket. So
529.
one
Yeah,
semester out of pocket.
correct.
How much will that be, that one semester?
Probably around 45,000.
Oh my God. No, it hurts. It
It does
hurts.
hurt.
40,
Mhm.
I'm sure a $45,000 keg party was well worth it. Okay. And okay, so that's good. You're both working full time, both you and your spouse?
My husband works full time. I am self-employed.
Okay. And how much does your husband earn working full time?
Well, he's actually just switching jobs. So
Mm,
based on this new job, we projected between his salary, potential bonus, and stocks,
hmm.
somewhere between 4 and 450 a year.
Wow. And you being self-employed, Katrina, how much do you earn?
Mine is very low. I net maybe about 40,000. So
Okay.
basically, I figure like what I do is more for our everyday expenses that we cover.
Or perhaps to think about that last semester of college. Um,
Yes.
but so the new job for your husband, how much more is he earning in this new position?
Well, it's a little tricky because the job he's leaving was very heavily based on salary and then plus stocks.
Uh-huh.
So that was kind of another part of my question. And we sold part of the stocks
Mm-hmm.
based because the stock price was very high in the last vesting period, but we pretty much have those remaining stocks on a hold pattern.
Uh-huh. How much money is in the company? You don't have to tell me the name of the company. How much
Okay.
money is in the company stock right now that he could sell? Like what's vested?
Okay. Last time I looked, it was about 1,300,000.
What? Dude. Oh my God. Okay. So
The
that's
thing is,
just
though,
sitting out there. I know the stock went down. I understand. I
well, the
already I
thing is,
already got
when he
that.
vested it, the stock was pretty low. So that was kind of my question is I've talked to other people saying we're probably over invested in this particular stock.
Yes,
But
definitely.
if I sell it, I feel like there's going to be a high tax liability because they're all gains.
Okay, no
Good
kidding.
problem to have.
What's so bad? Oh my God. I wish it were 300,000, not 1.3, and you'd have
You
a
want a
lower tax
loss?
bill. Come on now. And is this when did this vest? In other words, is this long-term capital gain or short-term?
Probably 80% is long term.
Okay, great. That's awesome. That's huge. Okay. All right, I'm keeping that over there on the side. So, ready for your financial gut check. We're going to go through some of the stuff that you have. All right.
Yes.
So, you're going to be making a lot of money. Let's talk about how much you've already saved. We know about the company stock, that's 1.3 million. What else have you saved? What's in retirement? What is in brokerage? What's out there?
Okay, I'll start with retirement. So I have an IRA
Hmm.
and that's about 479. My
Okay.
husband's IRA is about 940.
And that is that a rollover from his old workplace?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So you've got, and yours is traditional, his is traditional. Okay. Got
Correct.
it. Yep.
In addition to that retirement savings, I have a simple IRA
Mm-hmm.
since I'm self-employed,
Mm-hmm.
and that has about 335.
Great.
And then a 401k from his previous job
Mm-hmm.
is at 281.
So the traditional IRA, that 940 in his name, was that also from a different job or where did that come from?
It's from a different job, like
Okay, got it.
rollovers from 401ks.
Okay, got you. Okay, so IRA, simple IRA, old 401k. What else?
Yes. Then we have our investment accounts. One
Brokerage.
is a fixed, yeah, thank you, brokerage, fixed income cash brokerage account. That has about 50.
That's like
And
your
that's kind of like
emergency
my
reserve.
emergency fund. Yes,
Perfect.
exactly.
Great.
And then we have another investment account that's 46% equity, 54% fixed income, and that has about 358.
I'm going to call it 360 because I can do
Okay.
that. Okay. So brokerage account 360, a little bit more moderately invested, I guess, to make up for the fact that you have one stock worth $1.3 million. I'm teasing you. You know that. Okay. So is that it for the assets? Is there anything else? Is there rental property? I'll get to your house in a second, but anything else?
Nothing else.
Okay. How about your house? I know you live in a high cost of living area. What is your house worth?
I'm going to say, based on as we know, the real estate market, especially where I live, is
Mm-hmm.
pretty strong, maybe 1.4.
Okay. And do you have a mortgage that's still outstanding?
So the unpaid principal is 54,000.
54, that's it?
Yes.
This thing's going to be gone in 2 minutes.
My maturity date is 1/1/28. I've always talked about paying it down, but my rate is 2.75%.
Jesus. Oh my God. Okay. Whatever. It's going to get paid down in a couple of years. So that's done. Okay. So that's done. No rental property, no vacation homes, right?
Correct.
All right, you ready for your magic question, which is always the hardest one to answer, which is how are your expenses? What are you spending to live this life?
So other than our mortgage,
No. How much is the mortgage right now? It's got to be piddly.
it's like well with the insurance, it's
Yeah.
about 5,000 a month.
Do you know what the principal and interest is? Like a couple thousand?
I want to say of the 5,000,
Yep.
50% is not the taxes and
And
insurance.
insurance. Okay.
Yeah.
So
So about
all right.
2,500.
So yeah. So okay. So 2,500 added to like what else are you spending?
Then just like everyday
Yeah,
expenses,
everything.
like
And
our
not even
month.
every day, like going away and like your life. What's it cost?
So I'm going to say monthly expenditures would be about 5 to 6,000.
No way.
That's it.
No
You think I'm low?
possible way. Too low. Way too low.
You mean it?
Yeah, I know where you live.
Tacked
There's
on the 2,500.
yeah, maybe. Like I'm saying 10 grand a month with our taxes and the homeowners insurance. Your taxes have to be 20 grand a year, right? Or 15?
Oh, my taxes are no 27.
Yeah, okay. So like your expenses have got to be 10 grand a month is what I'm going to put in here as your placeholder.
Okay.
We'll get back to Katrina in just a minute. If you've got a question, just go to jillonmoney.com and click the Contact Us button.
Back to Jill on Money, where Jill Schlesinger helps you take the mystery out of your finances.
Welcome back. It's the Jill on Money Show, where we are trying to take the mystery out of your financial life. If you've got a question, just go to jillonmoney.com and click the Contact Us button. Let's get back to Katrina from Long Island. How much longer are you and your husband going to work? That's a big question to try to answer before we figure out kind of where you are in the process.
I mean, I would guess till our mid 60s.
Okay. So you would work, and he's not going to be entitled to a pension, right? No other job or no military service.
Correct.
Okay. So if we said like 65, does that seem horrendous to you or does that seem realistic?
That seems realistic.
Okay. So, and you said you're in your early 50s, like 52 or 54. Did you kind of do that thing, that cheat thing?
I did.
Uh-huh. So how old are you actually?
I'm 53. He's 54.
Okay. There you go. Early 50s. Nice. Nicely done. Okay. So the reason why I want to know that is we've got a dozen years here. Okay. That's what we want to look at. Let's even say for your husband, we got 10 years to go. Okay. And I imagine he is maxing out his retirement contribution, right?
Yes.
Okay. You're maxing out your simple, right?
Yes.
Is there any other money you're putting away proactively? Like in that brokerage account, are you putting money into that?
No.
Okay. So most of the saving that is happening is either retirement or the $1,000 a month into the 529 accounts, right?
Yes.
Okay, good. I just want to there's no judgment. When you say maxing out for your husband, is he making the catch-up contribution because he's over the age of 50?
Yes.
Okay. So it's 32.5 and then your simple on top of that. So it's like 40. Okay. So what's interesting about this is you are certainly socking away a good chunk of money, right? Like it's 50 something $1,000 into retirement and you've got your 529. And then, the reason why I know your expenses are probably more than you think is that you're doing a great job saving for retirement, but you've got these kids and you live in an expensive area. And so all of this put together is like cash flow heavy, right? You have a lot of drain on your cash flow. So it all makes sense to me. Now, let's say, are you the gut check part of it? Are you on track to be able to produce $10,000 a month at age 65? Mark, do you think based on what they've accumulated already, and we'll deal with the old company stock in a second, but just let's presume that the company stock that's worth 1.3 is not 1.3. We're going to pay some tax. Let's just say that to the brokerage account, which now has 360,000, then let's just pretend we added $1 million to that. So let's just say we had 1.4 million in brokerage And then we have retirement assets. I don't know if you got these numbers, Mark, but let's say 480 for her, 940 for him, 335 in that simple, and 281. So there's a lot of money that is saved. Plus, now we know there's about $1.4 million that will be in the brokerage once we get rid of this concentration in this one stock. How do you think the financial gut check is going for Katrina and the wave? That's just an old musical joke. Katrina on Long Island. How are they doing?
Will they be able to generate what they need in 10 years from now? They're early to mid 60s, 100%. 100%.
You think they're good? They're 100%. They're good to go. Okay.
Especially if he's going to be making more money and they're able to save even more than they have been saving, 100%.
I think they're going to end up saving more because I think once the kids are, like we're going to be done with college, it's going to be okay. No problem here. The thing that's going to be tough for you guys is, you make a bunch of money. You're in a high cost state. And so Mark's going to try to make an argument that you should be using, or your husband should be using a Roth option through work. In his new job, will he have a Roth 401k option?
Yes.
Okay. So Mark, just to be clear, they are in the 32% tax bracket. They're going to lose a lot of some of the benefits that you would have of, kind of defraying your taxes a little bit. You'll lose that. And New York's an expensive state to live. So, Mark, are you going to advocate to Katrina and her husband that they start using the Roth option?
I don't preach what I don't practice. Yeah, I live in the same general metro area, also high tax bracket. You guys have a lot of pre-tax money.
That's the issue. That's the real issue to me that I see. You don't have to do it all at once. You can kind of scale it in. But, you guys do have a lot of money that is sitting not taxed, right? And we want to make sure that when 10 years from now, that problem isn't compounded more than it needs to be. Now, I'm not saying you made a mistake. Like, this is how most people who are, 50 years old kind of look. They're overly invested. So you got $2 million that has not been taxed. But in 10 years, it's going to be 4 million and change. And we'd rather try to defray some of that into the Roth now. So here is what I think, if I were doing triage, I don't think Roth is the most important. I think your allocation to the company stock is far more important to deal with. So if you would like to maybe deal with that first and create that horrible tax liability right now, which, you're going to have to deal with at some point, you're going to end up spending about 20 something, let's just say a quarter of the money that is, let's even say a third. If you sold the whole company stock now, you don't have to do it all at once. I'm just saying I would sell at least a third of that or talk to an accountant and come up with a strategy for scaling out and getting out of that company stock. That money needs to be reallocated and diversified. It just does. And, if you do it all at once, you're going to get whacked like crazy. You're going to be in a very high brackets. Do you work with a tax preparer?
Yes, I do.
I think you should talk to the tax preparer. I think you should. Do they know about the 1.3 in the company stock?
Yes.
What do they say? Don't do it because you're going to pay taxes. Say we're doing it. Just say we are doing it. What's our game plan? That's what you should be. Be very direct.
Well, you mentioned that I'm in the 32% tax bracket. I actually asked him, I emailed him what tax bracket for, it's 2025. He said 35%.
Maybe because did you get some sort of, he makes 450. It's just a tip. So married filing jointly, the top bracket is 512 to 768. So 500,000 to 770-ish. Okay. Most of your money looks like it's coming in at the 32% bracket. Is he including
I think it's
something
because
else?
the numbers I gave you for the current job is less than what the prior
was
because of the stocks.
Interesting. Okay. So this year this job is going to be much more salary based, or this is this. Did he take a cut?
He took an even salary. I would say it was lateral. And then there's a bonus, a 30% potential bonus. And then there's a stock vesting over 4 years based on what the annual salary is.
I see.
It's a little complicated.
Yeah, I get it.
So it's hard to kind of, yeah.
But even at 35%, okay, let's say that, hey, you're making for $500,000 or 600,000. Let's just put it out there. Even so, shouldn't we be more concerned with the risk of having $1.3 million in one stock? Are we letting the tax tail wag the investment dog? In other words, if you had just said, we sold some, we paid tax, like even if you just said to the accountant, we're going to sell a quarter of this every year for the next 4 years, count on it. It is so scary to have that much money, that big part of your net worth in one holding. And even if it goes up, and you've missed some, maybe the way to make yourselves feel better is to have a plan to do this on an annual basis. It just feels so, I'm going to say it feels anxiety provoking to me as someone who has lived through many ups and downs with people in my life who have taken on this kind of risk. Even if you feel like, we can assume the risk, or, we'll just wait. Well, what if the company doesn't do as well? I'm sure you've lived through cycles where you've seen that stock go up and down. I just feel like it would really behoove you to just say, look, I'm going to pay some of the taxes. Even if you had to skip the Roth, even if that were the case, I'd rather you sell the stock and keep getting your tax deduction for the Roth, and I'll deal with your untaxed assets later. I am much more concerned about that company stock. To me, that's the risk that sits on the balance sheet. We'll get back to Katrina in just a minute. You're listening to Jill on Money.
Do I invest here? Should I put my money there? Jill Schlesinger can help you. Back to Jill on Money.
Welcome back. It's the Jill on Money Show, where we are trying to help you make better, sometimes just less bad financial decisions. If you've got a question, just go to our website, jillonmoney.com, and click the Contact Us button. When you do that, a form will pop up, and that's the email we receive. Just try to give us a lot of detail if you don't think you'll be coming on the program with us live, but try to come on the program because it's a lot more fun to do that, and we can usually get to some different kinds of aspects of your situation. All you need to do is check the box, and Mark will arrange to bring you on. It's very easy. Promise. Okay, right now, let's get back to Katrina from Long Island. Let me ask you a few more questions. You guys have life insurance?
We do.
Okay. And it's term life insurance?
Yes.
Okay, great. How about estate planning? You have kids who are kind of in a interesting situation. A 20-year-old is almost 21. So do you have the estate docs done?
Well, that's my other question. We have a living will and testament, power of attorney, and advanced healthcare directive.
Okay. A living will. You don't have just a plain old will?
Oh, and a living will. Yeah.
Okay, a will.
Yes.
Okay, so you have a will, a power of attorney, and the living. Yeah, that's all good. You don't need a trust. You don't need a trust because you're even for New York State death tax, you're under the limit. So you're good. Anyway, I got to spend some of this money down, Is your brokerage account held where? Where that 360 that you said, where is that held?
At Chase.
At Chase. You're in JP Morgan Chase as like an investment?
Yes.
Okay. No shade throwing at Jamie Dimon if he's listening, but how are they doing for you and what do they charge you?
I knew you were going to ask me that question. So I did actually text my advisor to find out because I know at one point it was 1%, but because we've combined assets and whatnot, it is at 0.41.
0.41, that's it? Jeez, it's cheap. Okay, keep doing what you're doing. I think it's more important to take the tax hit on the sale of the stock than doing a Roth, but I think a Roth is possible in the future once we get that stock situation managed.
Okay. So as he starts his new company, start off 100% doing a traditional IRA.
Yeah, as long as you're going to sell the stock. If he's not going to do the stock, if you guys are like holding your breath and saying, no way, we're not doing it, then use a Roth for him.
Okay.
All
what
right,
about
that's your
splitting?
choice.
Could one split like partial Roth, partial traditional?
Well, yeah, sure, you could, but you're going to feel the tax hit at a time when you're going to pay a lot in when you sell the stock. So I'm happy to, if you're willing to do that, absolutely. It sounds like you're more willing to do the Roth than take the tax hit on the sale of the stock.
My husband would like to
Market time.
No, sell more of the stock.
Yeah.
I think I'm a little bit more holding that it's a strong stock.
So what? Are you kidding me? I could find the best stock in the world and I wouldn't put 30% of my net worth down on it.
Yeah.
There's no way. The most I would ever, Mark is laughing at me now. So the most that I would ever have in that stock, like right now, if we think about your net worth being, let's just say your invested net worth is $3 million, you could have like 300 grand at most in that stock. The rest should be sold.
And
having
put
more
into
than a diversified portfolio, let your broker at Chase, JP Morgan Chase, reallocate and put that money in the brokerage account.
Yeah, that's what we're thinking.
Yeah, totally.
Okay.
And like, suck it up, girl. You know, you're going to pay some taxes. Isn't that terrible? Wouldn't it be worse? Literally, would you rather be in the situation where like, no, it's only worth 300,000? No, you want it to be more. So pay the tax. You don't have to do it all this year, but you have to get out of this thing. The maximum that should be in any one single stock or any single loopy idea like gold, crypto, like one thing is 5 to 10% of your invested assets. You got $2 million in investments right now. I'm not even including the 360 that's in the brokerage. $2 million there. You got another $1 million. It's 3 million. You know, like you really shouldn't have more than 300 grand in this stock.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
It's your tough love today.
Thank
But you're doing great. Your financial gut check. I think Katrina, you look good. You really do. But let's clean some of this mess up. It's not a mess. Yeah. Let's clean up some of these great opportunities you have. Let's convert this great opportunity into more freedom for you in the future. How does that sound?
That sounds great.
You see, I did it with a little bit of a salesmanship. I have that in me still. I really do. Is there anything else that we can do for you, Katrina from Long Island?
Yes, there's one more question regarding life insurance. I'd love to get your thoughts on getting a long-term care policy.
Well, that's an interesting question. If your husband has that as a benefit through work, it might be worth looking into. It might be. But generally speaking, they are very expensive. And at your level of assets, like, and I look at everything together here, right? So now I'm saying that you'll have $3 million invested and you'll have a, $1.5 million house. You should be able to self-finance a chunk of it. But if it were a corporate benefit, I'd look at it. And maybe if you want to take a look and see what the cost would be, because you're young, you're under the age of 55. What would it be to get some partial coverage? That would be interesting for me to find out. Because, obviously, if something bad happened to one of you, then the other one is going to plow through the money pretty quickly, right?
Right.
And so I would look into it.
Okay.
It's kind of like this donut hole. It's like if you had all that money from your investment, reallocate. No, I'm just kidding. If you had more like $5 million invested in $1.5 million house, then then I'm like, okay, you can self-fund. But at this level, at this point in your life, there is risk. There is certainly risk here that, again, you live in a very high, if you had to go into one of, your places out on Long Island, I happen to know because my mother-in-law was in one. So I know how much it costs. And, 200 grand a year can get eaten up pretty quickly with one person needing care. Now, it wouldn't be forever, but it would be like you'd eat up $1 million. It leaves the other one short when it comes to retirement if it happens too early in your life. That's the downside. So maybe get a quote. And if it's so expensive or you get a quote, come back to us and we'll give you an opinion about whether we think that's too expensive or not.
Okay, that sounds great.
Are you wrestling with a big decision? Maybe it's about real estate. Maybe it's a job. Get in touch with us. Go to JillOnMoney.com and click the Contact Us button. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to Jill on Money, where Jill Schlesinger takes the mystery out of your finances.
Welcome back. It's the Jill on Money Show, where we are attempting to take the mystery out of your financial life. Now, there are so many different ways that we try to do this. The easiest way that we can do this is by talking to you. So get in touch with us. Go to jillonmoney.com, click the Contact Us button, write us a note, and hopefully we can answer that on the air. Now, if you'd like to join us live, check the box. Mark will do everything else. And we like talking to you live because sometimes we can surface a different issue that lies beneath that you don't even necessarily realize is going on. So when you come on the air, we're happy to have you change your name. We'll keep you anonymous, don't worry. Now, while you are on the website, I would love for you to check out our subscription service. It is called Jill on Money Live. This subscription service gives you access to quarterly live webinars, and they're so much fun. It's really great. You'll also get the entire back catalog of those webinars, and we also have bonus audio and video content, the whole shebang, the webinars, the back catalog, the bonus content, $45 for the next 12 months. Now, I've got great news because we've got our next webinar already scheduled Wednesday, June 17th, and it is with a Social Security expert. Her name is Heather Schreiber, and she's incredible. Any question you have about Social Security, you need to join us for this webinar. Again, to join us live, $45, you'll get the Heather webinar, another 3, and all that extra stuff. If you can't make that kind of commitment, then maybe you just wait for the webinar to publish, and then you can pay $15 for the single Heather Schreiber webinar. So many of you have Social Security questions about claiming strategies, about what to do if you've lost a spouse. These are the questions that we are going to cover, and Heather is an incredible resource. We're so lucky to have her. Okay, time to get back to you. This is an email from Alex, who says, I'm 65 and I'm retired. My wife is 62 and would like to retire in a year. Our house is paid off and it's valued at $200,000. We've got $700,000 in retirement accounts. We spend between $5,000 and $6,000 a month, closer to $6,000 until my wife hits Medicare age. Affordable Care Act for her is around $800 a month. No kids, just a cat. Social Security, $25,000 a year. Wife's would be $22,000 a year. We invest in a balanced portfolio. We're planning on taking 4 to 5% out each year. Yowza. 4 to 5% is a lot. I wouldn't do 4 or 5%. I mean, I would only do 4 to 5% if you're willing to do something that's a little bit more work on your part, which is you can take 4 to 5% in a year where the market's up, but if it's flat or down, you can't. I would do more like 3.5 or 4%. So, Mark, do you think they have enough to last them? 5 or 6, let's say $6,000 a month just for the heck of it. They need 72. They're going to have $47,000 in Social Security, and they have $700,000 in retirement accounts. Can they make it? He thinks they can. What do you think?
I think they can make it. There's not a lot of wiggle room.
No, there isn't. Because even if we just say, okay, you're going to pull 4%, not 5%, you're just making it. It's not an easy make it. It works better at 3.5%. Because if you live a long time, that $700,000 needs to last you. So if your wife would be willing to, I don't know if she really could do this, but her working just a couple of more years, even just to get her to Medicare or closer to Medicare age, that would be a lot better. Like if you were $5,000 a month, I'd feel a lot better than $6,000 a month. And if she put a little bit more money away, then that would make the numbers work. Okay, Sharon says, my 3 adult children have just lost their dad, my ex-husband. They've asked me to help them figure out what to do with their money. My ex had a brokerage account and cash accounts equaling $400,000 and an annuity of about $500,000. It's all to be divided equally among the 3 kids. The insurance company that has the annuity is giving options that we need guidance on. First of all, take a deep breath before you take advice from an insurance company if you're the beneficiary, okay? Because my guess is they're going to try to sell you something. So Sharon says, what kind of financial expert should we go to for advice? A certified financial planner? We need investment advice and tax advice. The kids live in 2 different states and one lives in France, just to complicate matters. I act as my French son's stateside financial advisor, but this is above my amateur status. Can you please point us in the right direction? What kind of professional should we consult? What fees should we expect for the advice and assistance in going through the process of taking possession of the inheritance? I think you could use a CFP. I also think it might not be a bad idea for you guys to have a fee-only CFP where you just pay a flat fee for the advice for the estate part of it, and then they're set up and maybe they don't need help after that. But each of these 3 kids has a different situation. It is good to get help when there are these kinds of issues, okay? The tax liability is not an inheritance tax. It is an income tax because those annuities, when they spill out to the kids, are going to be taxed at the kids' tax bracket at the time, okay? So just know that. Anyway, what a rotten situation. Boy, if you've got a financial question, just go to JillOnMoney.com and click the Contact Us button. And if you'd like to join us on the program live, all you need to do is check the box. Mark will do everything else. While you're on the website, don't forget to subscribe to our weekly newsletter. It comes out on Fridays. We'll be right back. Welcome back. It's the Jill on Money Show, where we are trying to help you make better financial decisions. Sometimes we're just guiding you along the way. Sometimes you need a little bit of a nudge. And sometimes there's a time-sensitive decision that you have to make. If that's your case, please let us know. We really want to make sure that we're helping you out in a timely fashion, especially when there's a deadline that is looming. Get in touch with us. Go to JillOnMoney.com, click the Contact Us button, write us a note. And if you'd like to join us on the program live, all you need to do is check the box. Mark will do everything else. While you're on the website, don't forget to subscribe to our weekly newsletter. It comes out on Fridays. While you're on the website, check out our 2 other programs. We've got 2 podcasts. One is called Jill on Money, Monday through Friday, and we also have a weekend program called Money Watch. They're both there right on the website, as is a link to videos and resources, everything you can need to help you get where you want to go. Before we finish the program, here is an email from Millie, who writes, I make 4 quarterly tax estimates each year with a voucher. The IRS received and processed 3 checks for vouchers 1, 2, and 4. Check for voucher number 3 never showed up on my bank statement. After 3 months, I sent another check. It also has never shown up on my bank statement. Now it's been 4 months. This is very strange. Do you think this is a postal issue or an IRS issue? What should I do? Millie, I think I'd pursue this with the IRS. I don't think this is a postal issue. And of course, it's too late to do this. But please, if you are sending any payments via the mail, you always do so with certified mail and a return receipt requested. Really, the lesson here for everyone else is please make electronic payments. Do not send paper payments. If it turns out from the IRS's perspective they were just backlogged, so be it. But chances are you've probably paid twice. You'll get the refund of the excess amount, but do pursue it with the IRS, and we wish you the best of luck. Well, that's it. That is the show. Our music is composed by Joel Goodman. Mark Talercio is our executive producer, and he's the king of all things web. We always ask that you do something nice for someone else today. Change your work, change your wealth, change your life. Thanks for listening, and we'll talk to you next week.